Okay, so you guys, hello. I have like Hollywood royalty by proxy calling me that is a performer and is Hollywood royalty. Her parents, I don't know where to begin. She's a performer. She's a comedian. She's a raconteur. She's in everything. I fell in love with her when during a show that an Emmy-winning show that she was on at a very difficult time in my life in the early '90s called the Sweeties. She also happens to be an amazing stylist and has probably worked on, you name the celebrity, she's been there, she's talked to them, and she has done their hair. Now, we all know about celebrities and their stylists, and they become their psychiatrists essentially. But she has done it with you name it. She has dealt with it. Plus, her family's old school, going all the way back to vaudeville. The brushes with celebrity that this woman has, her name is Lemaire, also otherwise known as Lemaire for Hair, which is where her boutique operation was in Beverly Hills. And oh boy, the reason we both she considers me Hollywood royalty and I do her is because I mean her lineage and her brushes with fame are like rival none. Anyway, here's Lemaire. And Lemaire, I was just giving you a little surprise lead-in. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm amazing. I'm so happy to be here. Well, I'm happy to be anywhere. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on this wonderful show.
Well, I mean, thank you for being here. I honestly do not know what to tell you. I am, I know that we are, for lack of a better word, pen pals, of course, but I mean, good God in heaven, I don't know. I cannot tell you how exciting it is. It
Well, let's
really,
start with that, the good God in heaven, because I want to talk about this really sweet charity. Um, okay, is that something I can do right now?
oh, please do. Are you kidding? I'm just
Okay, well,
making
listen.
sure that you've got.
Okay, I'm in, right. For anyone that's in California, or you're going to visit somebody in California, or you're just hanging out here, I'd like to let you know about Bread of Life, and it's called Bread of Life Foursquare Church, but it's not like something that's going to judge you or make you feel horrible or anything like that. But they feed between 4,000 and 5,000 people a month. And it's a come as you are, as long as you're coming hungry.
Yeah.
And the food that they give out, check it out, are from Gelson's. I mean, just amazing chickens. Everybody knows about those rotisserie chickens from Gelson's.
I grew
You're
up,
getting
yeah.
that. They don't just give you one chicken.
No.
They'll give you like 5 chickens to take home.
Oh my God.
Okay, and also the foods come from Whole Foods, so you're getting organic stuff
Really?
when you stop by. And yeah, you have to wait in a little bit of line,
Sure.
but it's so great because they're not just giving you like from the stores, like, oh, here's a tomato that had a bruise on it. No,
Yeah.
The food is really good. The people are wonderful there. There's so much love there, and they express the true love of Jesus, the true love of God, and just let people come there and eat. So if I can I just give the number?
Please do. And I just wanted to underscore that, as well, I had actually a major in world religion, to be honest with you, in college. I just want to clarify, that you had mentioned before that these are for folks that are beholden to a life that can be any form of higher power. It just has different letters for each of us. And that is one thing, not to interject or take too much time, but my takeaway from studying world religion fairly extensively is that it's everything. Everything is everything. We have letters and names for it, but we are all a part of a higher something. And so please give us our information about that, because you underscored that this is open to all, and particularly those that are hungry, because that tears me up. That tears me up.
And you know what? It's like they're not sitting there going, what do you identify? Who are you? Whatever. It's just a thing of really they're coming from a heart of love.
Yes.
And I've been wait, I got to tell you, I was homeless before. I
Yep.
lived in my car. I slept on these bluffs in Encinitas, and there wasn't this kind of a thing to help people who are homeless. And people come from different walks of life, and maybe at one time they were millionaires, but something happened to them, and they need to eat some food, but they want to be around people who are serving it with love
Yes.
and grace.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And may I just say, where I'm coming from, it's I'm not into a religion. I'm
Yeah.
into a relationship, and
Yep.
it's a personal thing.
Yep.
And because religion, some people that have that religious spirit, that's what kept people from wanting to know anything about God. They go, forget it. I was raised in a religious family. And they go, I hate religion. I go, good. So does God. He hates it, and Jesus hates it too. And that's the thing. It's just let's love one another.
Yes.
Let's feed these people,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And it doesn't matter.
It's
that's
love.
what I said. It's a come as you are party.
Yeah.
Just come as you are.
Yeah.
You don't have to even take a shower. Just come. The only thing you have to do is come hungry, okay? And expect to be loved and given this food in love. So anyway, it's okay. They don't turn anybody away.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, they're not going to go, oh no, this person can't come here because whatever. Okay, so it's the name of the lady her name is Nancy, and her last name is Eskijian. That's Eskijan. The direct phone number to her is 323-309-0670. And their email, their website is www.labreadoflife.org. And like I said, the food, you're eating gourmet food. You're taking away, and like I said, it's not just like, oh, they gave me a drumstick. How nice. No, they're going to give you chickens. I met this person. She's like, Lord, I don't know. I came back with 12 chickens, and I had to put them up in a freezer. I was able to feed people in my neighborhood, and it's nice. So
yes.
I would never,
No.
put a stamp on something that was horrible.
Well, listen,
I
mean, of course you wouldn't. And, I want to grab at least 5 minutes of you of all kinds of other delicious things. But no, I mean, absolutely. Well, no, but I want to really, again, put a fine point on what you were saying about love, about this is the hardest time for some of us ever. I don't even know where to begin. But look, I was baptized Roman Catholic. I'm a Buddhist. Who the frig cares? You traveled to Manhattan when and during the Reagan era or whatever, when things were just explodingly tough in certain arenas, and there were millionaire businessmen who were wearing suits 2 weeks prior, and they're living on a bench. So, and
I know that.
LaMaire, I don't know how much of my Facebook and so forth you follow, and then we'll get to the good stuff. It doesn't make me no friggin' hero. It doesn't make me any better than anyone, but I have mentioned before, and it is the God's honest truth, and almost taken pictures of me to prove it, because I do have them, but that's only because my husband had to come pick me up. I have panhandled in an intersection to get $10 to buy my dog food. Now, I will always go without food, always, but not my animals. And I've done that.
You mean we have panhandling in common now?
Yeah,
every time I talk to you, I find another thing about you that's like me. Are you me? I used to panhandle on Hollywood Boulevard to get food.
Me too.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, so because there is that bond beyond all bonds between us, and I'm going to give us about another 6 minutes at the outside, because this is, as far as I'm concerned, the beginning of 2 shows, but let's just dive deep. We were talking about, I met you, I mentioned a little bit on the lead in, this kismet of finding you at this time in my life when you were, vacillating between this experimental, television that became Emmy winning, and then you were a renowned stylist, and where do we begin, LaMaire? Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? What's the beginning? I had showbiz parents. My parents met in Chicago. My mother was dancing at the Palmer House, and my father saw her, and he goes, "I'm going to marry that girl." And then nothing happened. I don't know. And he also saw her. She was an acrobatic and a tap dancer, and very excellent. She danced with Bilbo Jangles Robinson and some of the Bob Fosse. I mean,
Good.
she
Oh,
really did. Both my parents did it. My dad was a well-known jazz musician. He played with Buddy Rich, the famous drummer, and Dizzy Gillespie, and all these amazing people. And then they met up in Paris when the bombs were dropping. I wasn't even born yet, of course. And they fell in love there.
wow.
And they came back, and they both had their own little shows that they could do. And so they had a trailer, and they would do all these dinner theaters. And they did this for years, like, I don't know, 15 years or so. That's what they did. They didn't have any children. They just wanted to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from what I understood, I was conceived in a trailer, and they had other costumes. Yeah. And so I know you weren't in a trailer, maybe you were. And so because this was their show, it wasn't that they put all their costumes, and my dad had all his instruments and stuff back there. And, it was one of those, I don't know what they were called, those big round things that they had that attached to the back of a car.
Oh, God,
But
yes, I know,
anyway,
yes.
And my mother told me that she was in labor for only 15 minutes because she was a dancer, and that when they were sitting, they were trying to get my mother to the hospital to have me. And she said that I was crowning, and then all of a sudden my head started coming out, and she says, "Oh, the baby's coming out." And my dad said, "Oh God," he goes, "I just washed the inside of this car and the outside." He goes, I
No.
just can't have a baby being born.
Are
in the
you
middle of
kidding me?
And she said, she goes, "Well, I tried to push you back in, but you just wouldn't go." And I said, and my dad said, "Well, try that." He goes, What is she, a mackerel? What are those things that go, you hit them in and they come out and then they hit it?
Oh, whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole.
Yeah. He said,
Oh my God, would you stop? Are you Oh, I don't even want to go there with the
okay,
visuals.
but anyway, long story short, my mother said my head was completely up, so I guess I started life upside down. She was walking with this baby's head out.
My
and everything
God.
was fine, and I'm here with you. So that's how I came into this world.
This crazy world.
What we were talking about earlier is that Sean and I, he would just start talking. I'd go, "Oh my God, I have that too." Like, I just found out he was a panhandler like me. So I don't know where
but the irony is that you and I relate on that level. But then again, and I am not overblowing this, hon. You and I both know that with every 6 degrees of separation there is, we are connected to Hollywood royalty. I mean, there's just, for whatever that means. But, it's like, LeMaire, you and I could walk in with the best of them, whatever that means, any high-level mogul's office, particularly today, because what are they, 14? And that's,
yes.
and that's the moguls. And we could walk in even 20 years ago, even 30 years ago. And well, no, of course you were a baby then, but, and just be like, yeah, let's talk about old Hollywood. Yeah, let's talk about brushes with fame. Why don't we talk about LeMaire's 2,500 clients that she is their psychiatrist essentially and the love of their life? And why don't we talk about me meeting Elvis, for example, and then you do like the math on that times 4,000, and that's you and I having a conversation.
Well, I've always called myself a therapist with scissors.
Well, see, I didn't even know that.
No, I did, and I always told them, like, the haircut's free, you're just paying for the entertainment. I had Brian De Palma coming to me, Scarface, and I said, I'd like to be in one of your movies. He goes, "Okay, what do you do?" And I go, "Can I show you a time step?" I mean, he's like, "Yeah, okay."
A ball change. A ball change.
He came back, and I did did it, my little time step and stuff. And, that's the thing. I would sing for people. I mean, they put up with this, but I also would help them with their problems. I would forget that I told, she goes, somebody would come in and they go, you know what? I dumped that boyfriend. I go, oh, what boyfriend? She go, don't you remember you told me to get rid of him? I went, I did?
See? And it's, I
okay.
swear to God, that is the perfect analogy. At least, I mean, I don't want to wrap up, but it's like, that is it. That is it all in a nutshell. Because every psychiatrist, well, yeah, every, let's say, therapist or psychologist, the patient walks in with the assumption that they know 150 times the details of their last visit. But these professionals are doing this, they're squeezing 20 minutes per into an hour. So they have to, how they do it, MAIRE, I don't know. They have to refresh and reboot their mind with enough time to go to the John and sit down, and then it'd be expected to know everything. The difference is, you're beautiful, you're fabulous, these people are amazing, the stories are beyond belief. I hate you. I wish I was you. I want to take you want to trade Total Recall? Let's do it, babe.
I wanted to, we were hitting on, I know we already, we did
Yeah.
have a nanosecond
Yeah,
left,
yeah.
but we were having this conversation because we kept saying stuff, and we were both like improvisers because
Yeah.
he's such a great actor.
Yeah.
But we were on Babs, and you were telling me that, you met her son, and then
Yeah.
you didn't know it was about, Barbara Streisand's
Yeah,
son, and
yeah.
you went over there. But my thing with her was I was at this big party because one of my clients, they were the producers of Rocky, and so they had this house and they called it Rocky Manor. They still live in there. And so Sue Mingers was a client of mine.
I sat next to her in Ma Maison. Wait till you hear the stories I heard telling Jack Lemmon. But anyway, go ahead.
She'd go, LaMaire, okay, just, okay, so anyway, she pulls Barbara Streisand over and she says, this is the girl that does my hair. And Barbara goes, do you do house calls? You know what I mean? And so, and so I go, yeah. She goes, okay. And then that was the end of that. And then I ended up with my friend Charlotte, who I told you, who was a Broadway star. She was in, she's Mom Mabel. In
that's right.
She was
in Hairspray, right.
Anyway, she has me, Barbara Streisand is doing, she was helping out Gore. And so she was campaigning for him. So she was going to sing this concert that the people were paying. So I got to sing backup. But in this choir, and guess what? Bob Estes put me right in the front row, and the whole time that she was there, she cared about the lighting. We're supposed to be rehearsing, going woo.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like in the rows here on the I don't like the tablecloth. And so they had to keep bringing it in and doing. That's all that went on in this thing.
Yeah.
And but it came out really good. And then at the end, she was kind of upset because she didn't like the lighting. That was her whole thing.
Well, Well, Barbara was a perfectionist. Like I said, I don't. I made it clear. Not that we're doing this, but at the beginning, ironically, of my show here, I said, there is lots to unpack, kids, and the tea is everywhere. That's my cat scratching at the door. I said rule 2 and rule 1. Number 1, you will never get a personal detail of anything about Barbara Streisand with me whatsoever. Yes, we Arnold Skazi in Manhattan and Pearl Restaurant and the Russian Tea Room in Maryland and Alan Bergman and all this wonderful stuff. Well, that's I can say that we had dinner, we had coffee. Same with Elizabeth Montgomery, because she was my surrogate mother in Hollywood. Again, she's off limits. So it's like you and I both know it's like we're in this constant. Well, to a degree, especially when we were working, this constant state of sort of non-disclosure agreement that was full of love. You know what I mean? It was like...
yeah, but she was great. I mean, the thing that I really gleaned from her, that she's very passionate about her work. And
absolutely.
She is very addicted to details.
Yes.
And I just noticed that, like, she just come in and like bleh. She really cared, and she wanted certain people placed in a certain place. I mean, and she wanted that tablecloth thing to be right. And so when I ended up opening for Cholo at this garden, and there were some people that were there,
Right.
and they were laughing because they go, "That's exactly happened." But when it came to singing and came to giving herself to that audience,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just nothing. I was like trying not to cry because I couldn't even believe that I was allowed to be on and breathing the same
No,
air
I
as this
can't.
woman.
I mean, I can't. I mean, I know her well and lots of all of this, that, and the other. But from a fan's perspective, geez, Louise, oh my God, if I had that opportunity, oh my good God in heaven. And one thing I just want to kind of put a fine point on her because she was, she took me away from a terrible family situation for about 4 years on a weekend basis and also throughout the week. Brought me to Manhattan, all kinds of lovely stuff. But this is the thing, and I'm always, and I don't mean to go on about, but Barbara's actually the anti-diva. She is the one who had the chutzpah to say no. That tablecloth is not right because. And just, what? Trust her, man. The woman knows what she's doing. The woman is genius level intelligence. She is genuine as they come. This, I mean, Barbara, she is so brilliantly intelligent and I think her brilliance is in her curiosity and is her willingness to be wrong. But then a part of her brilliance is knowing when she's right. And then, it's like she's somehow kind of turned into this, I don't know, at times, at certain periods of her life, like very, put on the defensive about things and maybe appearing to be irritated.
But, what's up, Doc? When I saw that, I mean, I got to tell you, she was brilliant.
No, she was.
I mean, she's a comic, and I loved her song. I'm the Greatest Star when she did Funny Girl. That. Oh my gosh, she was only 20-something years old.
No. And then on that topic.
And the poise that she had. To sing with Judy Garland.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable.
When I see that to this day, that, Happy Days are getting, I mean, can you imagine the chutzpah, and I can say that because I'm half Jewish, to get up and sing with the great,
Yeah.
Judy Garland. I mean,
No.
Oh my God.
And I think the beauty, I'll wrap this up with this, is we all know that she is an unparalleled. In fact, I've done the math, disagree with my math, but from which direction, I have concluded that the two greatest singers of the 20th century are Barbra Streisand and Ella Fitzgerald. That's a whole other show.
Oh no, you didn't go over there. Do you know? This is crazy. Ella Fitzgerald was my dad's favorite singer in the world, so I've learned. I mean, I would wake up in the morning and he'd be playing this jazz music, and he said she's the best singer in the world. That you're right, Ella Fitzgerald. Forget it.
Yeah. No one could. No.
All that.
No.
My dad did some scat singing too as well, and he goes, "Oh, she was the greatest."
No.
And I didn't know that what she was doing was she was mimicking the trumpet. That's what that came from.
Yeah, absolutely. That's scatting. That's riffing. And don't get me started on bebop. You and I had the little.
No, that's what my dad did. Gosh, people out there, I'm sorry. It's just every second that this person talks is another connection. This is weird. Are you me? Are we the same person?
Well, listen, but the kismet with which we met, LaMaire, is like miraculous and unparalleled. But on the flip, and just to, oh my God, it's like, take a guess at what the first album that I ever purchased was. You'd think what? Don McLean, Helen Reddy. I was like, I was born in '66, right? So. When do you buy your first album? 7, whatever it is. The first album I ever bought was the Pointer Sisters' debut album, LaMaire.
Wow. Now, I was into them, but I didn't buy their album because I had older cousins, and they turned me on to...
Bette Midler?
The music they were into, which was all the English bands.
Yeah, But I was young, I learned to appreciate those all, so many years later. Oh, the appreciation for that. Anyway, music, Hollywood, beautiful nonprofit information. Lights, camera, action. This is now a 24-minute show. We're supposed to be 10, but I do not care. We are going to wrap it up inside of a half an hour. I am going to post this I am probably going to find some gorgeous picture of you somewhere online, slap it on there, tell how everybody how beautiful and wonderful and how you're like, one tiny compartmentalized soulmate of mine, and to be continued, huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay, my
Because we have
love.
so many. I mean, before we even got on the
Yeah.
air today, we were
Yeah.
on. I checked at 56 minutes,
I.
and we just kept bouncing off each other because it's the same appreciation. And
Oh yeah.
we were. That's why, even though it would be great, if I was, 19 or 20 years old now. But you know what? I appreciate that I was born when I was, so that I could have learned all about this old Hollywood, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And go to these different haunts that people, and my
Yeah.
dad taking me to all these, places that no longer exist.
I
And that's the
know.
problem. My friend Allison Martina was trying to save all these buildings that they're, just
Yeah.
taking down and
Yeah.
putting other buildings there
Yeah,
that are,
well, that was the weird thing, and I digress again, but one of the fascinating things about growing up in Hollywood in the 70s was not, it was like, yeah, it was the decay of Hollywood. When I grew up, the Hollywood sign was like two-thirds on the ground. I mean, you
oh
couldn't see it.
no.
No, literally. And so you're living in an era that's falling apart in the 70s, the
Yes.
Garden of Allah and all of these places that are now.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
God.
but and even back then, so I
Do you
have
remember
this
was it it
Googies,
was
Googies.
the tiki something was in Beverly Hills. I'm trying to
Oh
think
yeah,
of
the
what it was.
luau, the luau.
The luau,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, please. This is going to turn in another 3.5 hours because I got luau stories, I got Hollywood stories, I got stories about what we were just talking about 2 seconds ago, and I got stories from 20 minutes ago, and then the hour-long conversation we had before, which to me I thought was 20 minutes. So that
No, it was
tells you
56.
that.
I was like going,
Oh
okay,
my
well, I can
God,
keep going because
stop.
you kept setting me up in such a way. And, there's just a few of these relics around here. I found out that they're taking down some other building. And,
Oh no,
it's just, yeah, they're
no,
just, I don't know
no.
who this individual is and why they
No,
would do it. I mean, it's just they're
no.
chopping
You
it
know what made me think
all
about
up
that
here.
too, when you were saying that is, and maybe we'll kind of tie it up here, but it's like that is so true what you were saying about kind of that kind of daydreamy, idea that you were having with regard that my dream, sometimes growing up in Hollywood was I would give anything to just come back here for one day in 1940
Oh,
or whatever, or
yeah.
62 or 33 or
Well, it was
well,
all orange. My dad told me it was all orange groves, in the valley and everything
and
like
just
that. And
and just
it was
be
a
able to walk down Wilshire Boulevard or whatever it is, whatever it was
Sunset,
back
yeah.
then, and go into like Woolworths or anything and just
Oh yeah,
live
that's
and
it. The thrifty stores. Excuse me, I beg your pardon.
yeah.
I'm sorry. In Beverly Hills, they're tearing that down.
Oh
And
no.
this Allison was writing about it that she went there and had ice cream and that she saw like major stars coming in there. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
they're
there
tearing
was.
that
Do you remember?
thrifties in Beverly
You
Hills. They're
remember? You
tearing.
remember?
Oh
Do you remember Will Wright's ice cream in Beverly Hills?
yes,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Okay. Listen, we're like you and I are floating on an ocean of information here. We're at exactly 28 minutes. I'm going to let this go to 30. So
Okay.
besides worshiping the ground that you walk in, I don't know what else to say, my love. Anything that you would like to share with all of us?
Well, I'm just so I'm always thankful every day I wake up.
So am
You know,
I.
I'm
So am
I'm
I.
just happy and I say, oh,
Yep.
hello, Lord.
Yep.
Thank you for another day of life. And I
Yep.
I just I'm just grateful for the family that I got to be raised in and to meet all these incredible people that people go, how did that they would have loved to meet, but they just were always in my life, whether I was cutting their hair
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they were friends of my family,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just that whole thing that a merry heart does good like a medicine, and a cheerful mind works healing.
Yeah.
And that's what entertainers are. They're the healers. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They bring
Yeah.
joy
Yeah.
and hard times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I love about also being, a professional stand-up as well.
Oh, sure.
It's not about, oh, I have to be funny. No, I want you to laugh because it's healing your body. Your
Yeah.
endorphins are going. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, on so
And I
many
know that
levels.
you feel the
Yeah.
same way as an actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
serving is
Passion.
actually what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's interesting. God, that is fascinating. Oh my God, we can go on forever. How, good performing and you're throwing yourself into that dedication and being so good at it is service. It is service to the
Yes,
community.
it is
Hello,
service.
actors out there who think that all is lost, that this dream was worth nothing, that it's killing you. You are providing an emotional support to the public at large because you are the
Yes.
one. Yes, there's a writer behind it. Yes, there's a director behind it, but what are they watching? What are they sitting in that chair going, what in the F is that woman thinking sitting in that car for 10 minutes?
Right.
Thank you, Tilda Swinton. But anyway, so we'll leave it there, my love. And this is the beginning of only several beginnings, because what I'd like to do is maybe once I get this sort of format going with, alternate to my just straight out talking, is having regulars like The Tonight Show did.
Ooh, that would be great.
So are
And you
you?
could get a lot of people. Have you ever thought of putting like Drew on your show?
Well, we'll see. We'll get around to that. But the ET stuff. I can dive into it anytime. And in fact, Drew's family and mine go further back than ET, which is a whole nother thing. But yeah, you know what? Let's do the next show about who I should invite. Anything, Lemaire. Anything. Okay.
Oh,
And by the
Glenn,
way,
thank you.
folks. By the way, folks.
Bye.
This brilliant person we are speaking with, who is Hollywood royalty and so forth, her name is actually Lemaire. That would be a capital L like Larry, small e like Edward, capital M like Mary, like Skippy Lowe, right?
Yes,
Anyway,
I was just gonna say
stop,
there's a space
stop.
after Elliot,
No, honey.
space, and then Mayor.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No, I was
yeah.
doing the Mary thing because of our little talk about
Skippy Law.
Skippy Lowe. So stop. But yes, anyway, L, small e, then capital M, then that would be AIRE, Lemaire.
Yes,
And we're not
yes.
just talking about Hollywood royalty. We're not just talking about her like lineage and her pedigree, but we are also talking about a beautiful person who is intensely intelligent, intensely hysterically funny. That's what got me hooked on Lemaire was her Emmy-winning, independent show on independent
But let's not
television.
forget, Gregory Paulson, my
Yes, please.
acting,
No,
my sweetie
please,
partner, who
please.
is
Yes, yes,
incredibly genius.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I always want
And
to give
guess
him
what?
props.
And a final tip on that. Guess what is the second picture in the post section of my YouTube channel that is now over. Well, we're hitting 14,000 in 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
But guess what? On that post section, 2 pictures down, baby, it's the sweeties. And it's only your shot. Sorry, Greg, but it's only her. So when we're done, you look. Oh my God, we're going forever. When we're done, get on my station. Go to the posts over to the right. Click that, and you're gonna see a big old headshot of yourself, my sweetie.
oh, okay, sweetie.
Okay.
Well, anyway, thank you all for hanging in there and
Yes.
listening to this beautiful person. And, I'm sure he's got more stories to tell you. And you know what? Just God bless you all. And you are loved. And I'm so grateful that we made this connection.
Yes.
That panhandling thing just threw me over. I mean,
Yeah.
what else are you going to come up with
Nothing.
next?
I mean, like, what are the odds, Lemaire? What are the odds on that
But I
one?
see myself. I on Sunset Boulevard, and I had the free press, and I was trying to sell them to. I mean, I would go up and I go, "Do you have a nickel? Do you have a?" And now these people come up to you and they go, "Hey, you got
I
$5?"
know. Don't even get me started. The dungeon master from ET is standing on the island of a street corner with people in a black Acura laughing laughing and pointing at me. Do you want to know, the Lemaire, the ones that allowed me to get off that island quickly to go over and get that dog food with my severe sciatica? It was the ones that quite obviously could not afford it, Lemaire. It was the ones in the beat up Accords, the ones in the old Fords, the ones that were digging through their purse to try and find that dollar or that their last five to get gas.
Sorry.
But the
I'm
other
sorry. It
ones
just makes me
in
upset.
the
I'm
black
sorry, because I remember
Lexus,
that.
the other ones in the black Lexus were too busy pointing at me and laughing at me with my sign that said, "For my pets only, on my honor."
Oh my
So,
gosh! But see, were a big star and everything, but the people that would come by with those cars, they, a lot of them didn't have pants on. I mean, they
I
wanted
know,
something to give me $1. You know what I
I
mean? And
know.
I was like, no. But
That's
you're
where it's
right. The
at.
people that had a beat up
Mm-hmm.
camper or something like that, they would give me the money.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know, so I
if
know that.
and Lemaire,
But I could see.
if that's not what life is about, would you tell me what it is?
You
Nothing.
know, I'm just
It's love.
grateful that
It's
I have
just
a roof
love.
over my head, you know, and
Yeah.
of clothes to wear, and
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I have a new brother here. I mean,
Yes.
I don't, you just sneak out of my mother's uterus or something. I
But rim shot. There you go,
don't know.
darling. We'll talk soon on a social level, and then let's regroup with our little Tonight Show idea.
All right.
You can be
Okay.
you can be my Bob Hope.
Oh, I love it.
Okay,
All right.
love.
Well, good night, everybody.
You got it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, honey.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up there. It is, whoa, 35 minutes. This is supposed to be a 10 to 15 minute show. I hope you love it. I'm going to post it right now because it's supposed to air at 10 o'clock and I got just enough time to upload it. See you tomorrow, okay? Love y'all, and you know it.